Yeah.
It's like ready.
Yeah, well, we're gonna think about that too.
All right, good morning.
Very nice.
Good morning. All right, welcome to our November meeting, Highway Park Recreation. All right, we've got minutes from our last meeting prepared by Julie, so I need a motion to accept those minutes, please. And a second, all in favor? Aye. All right, thank you. See anyone here from the public? All right, so we'll start right in with this highway and parks items, Ray.
Okay, start with number one, just our normal, crews. We'll work trees, resident request list, patching the roads, basin repairs, small drainage. So that is kind of on the tail end right now. All our personnel is essentially on loose leaf pickup and yard waste pickup as of right now. To the point where we're 4 deep down into parks and using them just to do daily operations. So as residents' complaints come in, either Pete or myself go out and check it. And if it does become an emergency, we have to make a call to either temporarily knock somebody off or to get it rectified, or if we get to a day where we're short one crew because of vacations or whatever, we can assemble a small crew to do the repairs. So still being attentive to the residents' request or giving them a time frame in which we think we can achieve a solution. So right now it's all hands on deck, pretty overwhelming.
Seems like very heavy all year.
Very heavy all year. The leaves are, we got a lot of leaves out, and would like to thank the supervisor for taking time on her day yesterday to go with me and meet some of the guys. They were very happy to see her, and they're very appreciative that she takes the time to come out and see what they're doing.
I took pictures of that massive leaf pile in 1 week. I had him in the truck next to it just so you could see how big it is. It's really
Over to my house.
insane amount of leaves.
So, you know, like I say, she got out there with me and we drove to a lot of different crews. She was packer pickup, our resources where we stockpile a few different crews for the day. So I appreciate her time, and I know the guys did too. They were happy to see you out there.
Great.
I was like, I purposely dressed up that day, so I didn't.
They sure did stand up straight down the traffic. Number two, personnel. We still have 2 tentative hires in the maintenance department.
Somebody came yesterday, application yesterday, yeah.
Well, we still have some trickling in, so we're reviewing them and interviewing. You know, obviously we want to get the right fit and somebody that's gonna stick with us for a long time, and it's a challenge. I think Matt runs into the same thing. I think any of us that try to hire run into the same thing with.
Well, the same as Matt's meeting, I need everything that you have for resolution for hire by like Wednesday. Because to get it to Elena on time because of the holiday, because the board meeting's a week early.
Oh, all right. I'll work on it.
Yeah, if you don't work on it over the weekend, if you can do it on Tuesday. Because I know what's gonna happen. Everybody's gonna give us these resolutions at, 4:00 on Wednesday.
I always try to get her.
No, you- But I'm
Get
gonna
them in
do-
early.
I don't want to be that guy. Yeah. So, with that, I know Janet sent me an email. I have 2 probationary periods ending. One is Anthony Brini and Ronald Walsh.
DERR.
Janet can send you that, right? Ron Walsh, yeah. She just sent me a
But I put it on everybody's calendar when they're ending probationary periods and they're not picking it up. But I will get it to you.
The agenda meeting agenda is already gone.
I can bring it up when we're there.
So. Crazy, you just want to get back.
If not, I'll do it from the floor. if I have to.
I'll do the resolutions for you.
Number 3, parks crews been out working in the parks, mainly picking up brush, with the 3 guys that we have left in that department, so they've been doing their best to clean up all the boulevards in conjunction with when the leaf crews are gonna be in them areas, so that they can either put it on the side of the road so that the vacuums can get. Other areas, small pocket parks, cul-de-sacs in the different neighborhoods that they take care of, they load on trucks and bring down and dump in the pile themselves. So we try to coordinate that so it's more time cleaning and less time hauling, and so, but the smaller places like town hall here, we just take them with us, so. Just takes a little time to get that done. They also did some, they fixed up where the water was tied in over on Seneca Lane. They did the landscaping in the cul-de-sac and the little trail that goes into the park. We just have to gonna get some seedlings and plant a few more trees to close that gap back up where we went through. It wasn't real bad. It cleaned up nice, but to avoid the noise going over into the neighborhood, we're gonna put a small row of trees there. Number 4, yard waste pickup. So loose brush and loose leaf was completed last week. So all zones were completed for loose brush. Our trucks are on a random pickup through November 29th or the first heavy snow. So that means November 29th, it's gonna end. It's not gonna be, I didn't get my bags up this week. They're gonna end. It's ample time, and yeah, it was in the flyer, it was in the papers, so, yeah, well, that's why I'm bringing it up. Even if the weather stays nice or whatever,
Yeah.
we can't.
Well, you transition your
We
equipment.
we have to move on to when it stops. Loose leaf is going well. They finished zone 1 on time within the first week. Kudos to the guys working on that. They've been humping it and they've been doing a lot of work. It's been relatively dry and very dusty. So it's a miserable day out there for them, but
Covered in.
yeah, all day long. I go, you want to take a picture? She's like, as long as I don't get dusty. But no, it's a lot of work for them. It's dry. They picked up a tremendous amount. I mean, you drive any of the streets, you see how much is out. I mean, we're relatively lucky because normal, we've had years where it stayed warm for longer into November and a lot of leaves didn't fall. So a heavy first pickup makes the second pickup relatively a little bit easier.
Slash week.
I mean, there will be more on the second pass, but if you can get the bulk in the first time, it definitely makes the second time go. So they're doing well with all that. Number 5, while we're on yard waste. So I'll leave this to Elena. Elena did some changes to the code, is working on. These are preliminary changes. As we found. Yeah, I brought some.
I don't have it. So,
These are changes to the yard waste code that we had to call for a public hearing on the meeting so that we can have a public hearing. In December, possibly. And come like this in December for next year. Essentially, we were receiving complaints of people who were basically putting commercial
Yeah, right, I remember
leaves and
that.
whatnot out, and definitely more than what would be produced by the properties. So when the complaint came into me, there was really nothing in our code that we could cite to as far as a violation, but that's not the intent or the purpose of the code and not what the taxpayer dollars are supposed to be used for. So I made some changes. The first one that's not as obvious is we didn't have a definition for yard waste. So I added that, and it specifically says does not include any commercial yard waste whatsoever. And that a property owner would have a neighbor to place additional yard waste on the property owner's property. So by including that definition, hopefully that will help alleviate some of the concerns. By adding in that definition, you usually have the definition section in the beginning, so it kind of bumps all the numbers down where if you see like 69-1 is changed to 2. And then I also changed under the collection of loose materials, just to have it in line with what we've been doing. It says the town board shall set by resolution the dates for pickup. That's not how we've been doing it. Ray's always done it that way. So I just changed it to reflect current practice. And I also changed penalties for the offenses. It's really only right now a $25 fine, which is nothing, especially if you have to take them to court. It's not worth
Right.
the time and effort. So I did bump that up to 50. That can be changed. I just figured 50 at a minimum.
Should we raise that even more?
We can, that's.
We had to start, we had to
Yeah.
start somewhere.
That's. It's before committee to have a discussion, so we can make changes before it goes on for introduction.
At least go to $100, right?
I have no objection to that, and I think that's
I think
fair,
that-
because once
I
we
do
go,
too.
once it goes to court, there's work that's involved and
Yeah.
even in my.
Did we put in here that we were,
Eliminating parents.
well,
No, so,
Put,
and that's what I'm,
I know,
I don't see it in here, but I thought I made changes that said that
This is clearly marked garbage cans may be used for disposal of leaves, grass clippings, and
that's
brush.
not, there was
No,
something
you're
that I added in there somewhere, and I don't know, because I don't see it. I see the cross-offs, but I don't see the add-ons that says that there's supposed to be something that says that the town board has the
Wait,
ability by resolution.
any additional specifications as set forth by the town board via resolution is deemed necessary?
to-
By
That basically, the town board's supposed to be allowed to make any changes to the administration of the program without having to change the local law. So if it's just procedural, like there's been discussions on how much yard waste, if we need to limit it, or cans versus bags, like we're not making any of those changes at this point in time, but if there's a need at some point in time to make changes such as that, the town board would be able to do it by resolution and not have to change the local law. It looks like for some reason when this was printed, it only shows what was deleted and not what was added, so I'd have to sit here and look through it, but I do know that I have that.
Can I just ask this stupid question? 69.4, it says over 30 inches in diameter, and down here it says 3 inches in diameter. Is that what they supposed to be?
Which can only be, can't be.
There is a difference between the brush and the branches can be 30 inches.
That
That's the
was
size of the can.
bundled materials is 4, 6 is loose materials.
Okay.
That's the difference.
But basically, we're gonna
That's the-
try
I
some
see what you're
numbers.
saying.
Yeah, it looked like you.
Right, so the bundle's not to exceed 50. 50 inches over, not really.
Yeah.
Solid.
I
There
didn't
was
touch
the
that,
bundle.
that's what's currently in the code.
So this all needs some work
No, I
and
just-
some
Yeah.
tweaking and some new ideas, but what brought this about is we did have some residents complain that, you know, their neighbors were bundling together. Their neighbors were bringing waste in from outside. They were frustrated with me because I had no way of connecting
Right,
with the
yeah.
person, with the violators, and there was nothing in our code that gave anybody the ability, whether it be code enforcement, whether it be me, to identify that and either tell them to knock it off, or there was no penalty for it. So people were becoming frustrated with, obviously, watching their neighborhood, and somebody was getting away with something. And so when I went to Elena looked through everything we had, and brief discussion came to resolve that we needed to start at some point with being able to make adjustments to this as we go, and that's how
No, this is.
Elena
great.
came
No,
up
this is
with
great.
this.
Well, so, Aaron pointed top word, that's why that was what was added to give the town board authority to be a resolution, make any additional changes. And the next section, 7, previously it had just stated, from land being cleared by a private individual, partnership or corporation for real estate development, I added in the or any other commercial purpose. Because before it was just specific to the real estate development, and that's not necessarily gonna be the case. So I made that broader to encompass, any commercial purpose. And then, as far as 8, I did add in addition to a code enforcement officer, the ability for the superintendent or deputy superintendent of highways. Because otherwise, you guys are the ones that are seeing it and getting the complaints. So they would work with my office to draft any paperwork necessary, but they should be the ones that are kind of the go-to for that. And then under penalties for offenses, the last sentence I added in additionally, the town may revoke the privileges set forth herein without a refund of any person found to be violating any provision of this chapter. So those were the things that were added in addition to what was already discussed that were good to know. But as far as the penalty, am I changing that to 100?
I think that's reasonable. I really do.
Well, because you really want to deter people.
Exactly.
You do.
And then what are we thinking about for timing on this? I mean, obviously, we won't be able to catch it for this season, but
No, I mean, I brought it to committee. If the committee is okay with it, then I can have it on for introduction at the regular board meeting. We call for a public hearing. The public hearing would take place in December. Sometimes with something like this, if it's a shorter or easier code, then we put a resolution on the same night for adoption, which I can do. Worst case scenario is there's a motion to table it and then it gets approved in January.
I'm okay with that. I mean, especially since we're not even really the only thing we're like substantially changing really is the $100 and the commercial piece. The rest of it is just sort of saying we have the ability to make further.
Right. So we need it for next year. Next year. Right, that's the important thing.
So it may be good to do that and get it through to make sure the rest of the board is okay with it. And then any other, we'll do meeting and try to identify anything that we want to add to this so that it's one and done. And then anything in the future that we find is a problem, we can always amend it or whatever, right? So, but there should be something in place, obviously.
So someplace there was something about the size of pan, wasn't there?
Yeah, there's on our informational thing, there's a poundage, no more than 40 pounds, 30-gallon container. Tide brush is to this parameters and tide. Loose brush, we try to do almost to the same parameter, but you don't have to tie it.
Right.
So, it has to be manageable for us.
Right.
I mean, you can't put a 30-foot limb out in front of your house and expect that we can get it in the truck.
No.
We can't.
We have been flexible on that at certain times when there's been storms. and things
Yeah,
like
that's
on
a-
other things
That's an individual cases and some weren't, we're out there assessing damage or doing damage repair to trees from a storm, a windstorm or an ice storm, which gives us the ability to canvass the town, engage whether there's not minimal damage and a resident can bundle it and leave it out for our normal pickup. Or if it's excessive, we try to do a courtesy pickup of go around with the chipper.
Which
And-
we've done.
and we canvass the roads and we do it once, and anything after that, they pretty much have to comply with the rules of the pickup. We can't just spend a month out on the road with a chipper till everybody gets every piece out of their backyard. We can't do it. We can't complete our other tests. So it's a courtesy thing, and it's warranted when we try to ease the burden of the residents to be able to just get the limb to the curbside and clean them.
Okay, so we're ready to go with this, right?
Thank you, Elena. Okay, so surplus forklift attached. Elena has that information. We received our forklift that was passed at the last town board meeting and the broom that was approved the used broom. So they came in, so we're gonna pick the forklift down the road, try to get some more money. I currently have a couple pieces more on the auction site right now. We're doing pretty well with the equipment that we're selling. We have a dump truck with a plow, which will bring decent money right now because this is the time to sell them. And a couple small items. So just trying to return back as much as we can. B is a tentative hiring of 2 grounds worker, hopefully.
Hmm.
So C is bid extensions. So Patty has been working, reaching out to vendor. This is our 3rd year on our bid extensions for, what's so funny?
It's an inside joke.
Uh,
Has nothing to do with what you're saying.
We hate down there.
Disruptive.
I know that was gonna come out.
So these are for products and services. So, I spoke with Galvin, which is the person that does our grinding of our yard waste and, removal of the product. He was willing to carry his bid price over, or this is a 3rd year of the rollover and the final year. So, you know, that work is similar to our work. We've seen increases in fuel. We've seen increases of equipment repairs. So this is actually really good that he's willing to hold this price. It's good for us. End of next year, we will have to go out to bid again. The reason we do this now is so that items that we need for sand, ice control sand, rock, stone, drainage stone, whatever, that's all included in these bid rollovers. So we did have one of our, so when we accept the bids, we accept multiples. So we have a low bidder, an alternate, which sometimes can be the same price or just a little bit more. So I did have one vendor out of all of them say that they wouldn't extend the prices, but sent me a bid sheet and increased everything by 25 cents. So I'm not going to accept that. That's not proper to do in the bid process. So he was actually the low bidder. So I'm going to cross him off the accepted list and we're going to use the alternate because there's an alternate in every item that he was unwilling to do. So without going out to bid for everything again, and this is kind of a timely manner with January coming up. Matt uses these same items for his public works and water and sewers, so we're just gonna take the alternate. It's a minimal, if any, price increase on 2 items, so, and everybody else has agreed to do that, so.
Do I need to return that one bid money?
We will. So, but we'll wait till we approve it for this month and then you can send them back there. And I'm sure they'll bid again, and I'm sure the increase is only because of cost of doing business. I'm sure it's not. Because we buy quite a bit of product from them. So, open discussion. Does anybody have anything that they want me to do other than you?
About trees.
Trees?
Let's talk a little bit about trees and the tree planting, because they've been coming to board meetings, as you know, talking about the trees. We continue to have the program in the town. And we did make some adjustments in the budget, but that is not gonna significantly impact any of that tree planting. Correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
And we all have our passions and we've been doing this for years, the trees. Unfortunately, when we sit down before our budget workshops and we have to make difficult decisions, we have to make this difficult decisions through all of our lines and to try to meet our numbers in which to keep things there. So it's not because one thing is more important than the other. It is because there is money in there that we have the ability to use outside of that, what was erased. So, given the circumstances of the year, the miscellaneous in there could be used for tree planting or replacement trees upon given that we have a good year. So, um,
There's a handful that don't fit exactly, but may be helpful to us, but wouldn't necessarily specifically pay for the trees. And I don't think the trees are, the monies in these lines are necessarily the problem. It's that you haven't been fully staffed in how long, and there's just not enough people to do the work. And I know we could coordinate volunteers and things like that, but then again, that's still more work to even coordinate all the volunteers. So I don't think it's a lack of wanting. I think it's just, it's not just, hey, we buy a bunch of trees. It's all the labor that goes into it, the planning, it has to be specific times of the year. So I think,
better survive. Yeah. You know, I met with the tree council and sat in their meeting. I brought them in on the process. You know, that it was more than just the understanding that, hey, why can't you just go plant these trees? And they literally got to see through the location process and how many utilities are in the way and the obstacles that we run across. So when you got a couple of weeks wrapped up in getting utilities, and then you go over there and there's no room for a tree, and there's, you know, because you got an old stump, you got a water, a sewer, a gas, utilities, some of them lots are small. And they can't accept the trees. So they learned a lot by being involved in the process. And I get their passion. I feel the same way. You know, I'm an outdoors guy. I don't mind it.
But we're continuing to keep them involved and getting them to work, giving them more
To this point, yeah.
responsibility to, yeah, well.
We're involving them and
yeah,
we want them to
get
understand.
To help us.
Right, well, we want them to understand our struggles too, that
Yeah.
it's not the only thing we do. We like doing it, you know, I always have guys here for Arbor Day and to do that, so. You know, it's a passion of ours too, but it is not the only thing we do. And we're trying, and I get that there's 100 people on the list. And
one thing that we haven't mentioned either is that we actually revised the budget from this fiscal year to include quite a bit more for replacement trees. So I think we had 3,500 in there, and we revised the budget to 7,200 because we have a lot on back order. So
It's
the
like
trees,
$2,700 in encumbrances waiting for trees to come in.
Yeah.
I mean, we get the product, it's the manpower and labor.
well,
But I think
we've
it's
done
very-
massive plantings from the Elm Institute. We did a bare root planting years ago, and I think in the letter, don't necessarily reflect what we've actually done. That might be street trees. It may be fairly accurate as street trees, but we have done bigger plantings. We did a whole row of pine trees over to Fieldstone in that project that was wrapped up in the Fieldstone project. We did a mass of.
These are trees they don't know about.
Right, but you know, some of them they do, like
Some they do.
the Elm Institute, they knew of. We planted like a small grove at Blatnick a few years back. And, you know, they're not being reflected in the actual letter, but, you know, time has been spent doing it. We do it. We have a passion for it as well. Time seems to be against us more than, you know, the passion to do it.
Said, coming to the end of the lifespan, right? Quicker than we or anybody could really
Quicker than we
replace
can replant
trees.
it.
It's just the way things happen, but we're gonna do what we can to try to replace them.
And I think there was some years back, I think if you go back in history, these two lines were greatly inflated some years back, from what they traditionally were. And I think we've held the title of Tree City USA for many years. I've been here many years, so, but I get their drive for it, and I understand that, and I support that. It's nice to have a green town, and definitely with all the residents I've met over the years, tree-lined streets are a big part of why the people are here. I understand everything that was explained, I understand, so.
It's funny, we're talking about how many leaves are everywhere.
The good, the bad, the ugly, right?
But we do have alternate ways to keep that in a healthy atmosphere that runs.
Anything else in open discussion?
Well, you're gonna talk about it at your meeting, right? So no sense dragging it on.
All right. That's it for Ryan. Very good. Programs.
Alrighty, for the month of October, we, for the first time, participated in Socktober. This is an event that is in conjunction with Things in My Very Own, that gives new socks to families that are fleeing abuse. We collected 953 pairs of socks, which to me is beyond, and one bag was 100 pairs alone. The one person brought in 100 pairs of socks, and to me, that's just like, I'm overwhelmed at the generosity in this town, and it's just nice to see something really positive when all this other stuff's going on. So I'm beyond, can't wait till next year because we're gonna go big. I'm thrilled. Which brings us to another collection, which is Toys for Tots. This is our annual collection that started November 1st. It will end on December 8th. The box is downstairs in the lobby, and we hope to exceed it. 2 years ago, I think it was Ray's group who did a collection themselves and donated toys. We boxes in the whole area. To beat that again. I mean, there are a lot of boxes all over, so even if 3, it's still more than, making a nice Christmas for these kids.
Yeah.
The Things in My Very Own wish tags, which are extremely popular, I just picked up yesterday, and the gift tree will be downstairs in the lobby. We cannot do them before Friday because once it's announced, it's gangbusters. I don't know if anyone has seen that, how fast that tree depletes, but we are also the only location that does email. So I've already received a request from a woman in New York City looking for 30 tags. So last year, I think it was 670 tags or families that were, that benefit from this. And I think it's just an amazing thing. The wishes are a toothbrush and toothpaste to maybe just like a new pair of sneakers. It's like, makes you appreciate what you have, and want to help those that do not. So it's a wonderful, wonderful collection. The Schenectady Holiday Parade. This will be the first time that the town of Niskuna is a part of this parade. I am beyond excited. Like, I am literally floating her. And when I am sleeping, I'm thinking about the parade. I wake up, I've got thoughts. I am literally beyond. And I'm so happy that we are actually going to make a presence in this parade. And I have to thank Ray for giving us a trailer. Because if we didn't have that, it'd just be me walking around.
Again, something's better than nothing.
So thank you, Ray. So appreciated. It's the parade it's a 55th annual, and it's on Saturday, November 23rd. I'm not sure about the time. I haven't gotten that yet. But if anybody wants to go, you'll know who to look for. See our friendly faces on the float. Our annual tree lighting is going to be held on Friday, December 6th from 5 to 6. The Niskuna High School Choir will again be singing holiday songs and will be serving hot chocolate and candy canes. Another thank you to Ray for securing us a tree, which he does every year, but it is a live tree, which we then in the spring plant in one of our parks. So I think it's a good thing. And you've always gotten me amazing. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, you're not happy, we're not happy.
That's right.
Because it
I like
likes
that
to look
motto.
out your windows, right, and see the tree all lit.
It's great. And decorating that tree is my love it. Okay. Karen,
For it after we're done, it is great.
Absolutely. Parents Night Out, it's in that same weekend as on Saturday, December 7th from 6 to 9 for children ages 4 to 10. Admission is free, but admission is one toy unwrapped for Toys for Tots. So that's another way for us to fill up our basket.
Per child.
Per child who is attending. The movie we will be showing is The Polar Express, and participants are encouraged to wear the pajamas just like in the movie. And I picked this movie because last year for the tree lighting, we had leftover hot chocolate. So hot chocolate is a big theme in the Polar Express. So I'm like, we're gonna use it the next night. So,
That's great.
and kids are also encouraged to bring a carpet-friendly snack and drink. Space is limited to 24 and registration is required because it is always a sellout. Our ski club, which starts in 2025, has approximately 44 students registered to date. It's open to grades 9 to 12, and registration is through West Mountain, but the bus registration is through Rec One. So once they register at West Mountain, they can come to us and register for the bus. There's still 2 to 3 seats available because we're almost at capacity. And if anyone has any questions, they can contact Julie. And they're also looking for parent chaperones. They're always welcome. She has 4 free chaperone passes available for each Friday night, and that chaperone can ski. So it's a good deal.
Which I've done.
You have.
Oh, yeah.
If you'd like to join her again, she'd love it. Right, turn it over to Jean.
So just some updates. We had a phenomenal, we have to figure out what to call this thing for next year.
Yeah.
The Halloween
Parade,
parade,
yeah.
the Halloween fest. It was fantastic. Approximately 150, 200
Oh,
kids at
it is,
least.
yeah.
Yes, came
Yeah.
through. And it was so great because the election, early election was going on. And so we had people on walkers, dancing and
Yeah.
so
Music was great.
Which was quite phenomenal, and the Mr. Pumpkinhead.
He was awesome. He was dancing. Yeah, a lot of dancing going on.
And all the clubs and sponsors and the businesses were very happy to be there, and so I think we're even gonna have more next year.
Yeah.
Because we actually already had feedback from other businesses in the area that want to be part of it. The dance place wants to come and actually do like a line dancing.
We should do Thriller.
Yeah, so that's really excited. I want to be part of it this year.
I mean, it's been coming to economic development committee meeting saying that they're creating a business.
Club council. or
Yeah.
something. Really?
So
Yeah.
I think they're like in the works and they're getting like a website that's gonna be up for next year and everything, so we should definitely.
And they're looking for a liaison. I actually thought of you immediately, so I'm
Perfect.
thinking.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, because I've been wanting to have a of some sort.
That's essentially what they're,
Yeah, it's very important.
like the businesses themselves, I think, are putting it together instead of having like a separate entity, but it sounds like they're really getting close to, I think he's like, what, 30 something businesses already?
Yeah.
And they're trying to expand so that it's not just Niskuna businesses, but people who live in Niskuna that have businesses
Nice.
outside of Niskuna. So it's like, we're all supporting each other in the community type of thing. So once that gets going and we do this next year,
It'd be great. I mean, even
partner, yeah.
the one lady that actually brought some of her wares did very well there, and she was giving things away. It was just a great event. So that
The weather.
I'm very excited,
Yeah.
and I'm hoping some of them will come to National Night Out, and so it was really great. Coming up tomorrow, first Friday, is our Veterans Day ceremony, which I'm very excited about. We have the high school singers will be coming. We have bel canto, studio singers, and a new one that are going to be doing 4 poems is called A Choir Taste. I love the names that they come up with here. It's amazing. We're going to have our wonderful Bill is going to be doing the opening remarks, and Deputy Supervisor Joe
Did he know that?
will be. Yes, he did.
She just got that look at it. It's like,
So, anybody needs it's 9:15 tomorrow, and the weather's gonna hold up, and so we will be outside. So, and I will have chairs there also. Just a pavilion and rental update. We are now officially closed for the season, and I will be getting, probably the next meeting, I will be talking about how we will be reopening it for people that want to get in touch for rentals for the next season, and also for all sports clubs to be able to get in touch with us to start booking for the following season to come. We cannot have anybody advertising for any events coming up because you cannot book anything until we actually get back into tournaments or anything yet. With that, I do have some updates. We did over $20,000 in pavilion rentals this season.
Is it pavilion or pavilion and fields?
Pavilion, but that's not counting the open invoices. So it's mostly pavilion.
That's awesome.
Mostly pavilion, yeah.
So people are really
Getting
getting
on board with the, wow, that's good, that's
Maybe-
great.
Concept signage and mount them to the building. So that people that just come and visit the park or bring their kids to the playground have a way to contact you or what just, we can get some signage made up and mount them right to the buildings, or there's a few that at kiosks, we can put it in the kiosks, but you know, for strangers that are around here, you know, come to a birthday party or whatever and enjoy the pavilions, if there's some type of information on how to contact you and what it takes to rent it, I think might go a long way. Might boost your rentals up.
You either forward it to me, not today's last day you have to give it to me, okay? And that's the end of that. And the last thing I have for you is, the pollinator garden that we had over at town, pool did very well. They took care of it themselves. And it was a hit. I actually saw the person who did it. There were a lot of the gardens around Old Niskuna. I didn't see the other Niskuna, because I live in Old Niskuna. But, so the person that did it actually there was people in Niskuna that looked at it and then now have it in their area. Yeah, so I thought that was kind of cool. They, proposed having a sign there in the pollinator garden that they would like to put up. And this is kind of their markup of what it's gonna look like as far as.
They haven't sent something out.
Well, that's the other part. So they're asking if they can.
Is it here, just
Yeah,
that little
that's just gonna
pedestal?
be it right there. And if you go, this will be what it's like on the page. It's just what it's gonna be. They're asking to do also is, we take down, it's almost could just be pulled up, but that no smoking sign.
We can relocate it.
Yeah.
Into the building or something.
It's like their second request, right? If it can be done before winter, just because they'd like to put that in before, they're gonna do it themselves. Get it done. They don't even mind pulling it out
So
themselves.
we'll take it.
Okay, awesome.
We're just gonna relocate it closer to the building and over by the telephone pole or something.
That's all I got.
Let me just rattle through what we've got going on. Update to the Mahjong tournament was a great success. People were extremely happy. We had almost 30 people. Daddy came to play, but I think we're gonna have to put it back to work. So I'm gonna go to like, we need help. So, but it worked out really well. Our partnership with Gershon paid dividends, and they're very small breaks, 1 in the morning and 1 after the tournament's done. They put the platters together. So it's not a luncheon, but it's just bits and pieces, and it always comes out really nicely. So everybody seemed very pleased. Yeah, it's a nice little place. And people are very supportive. So I will jump to and just preview. We are going to do our holiday meal on Thursday. It's December 12th. We also have Acquired Taste coming. They usually come and they sing usually in the hour before. So they'll usually start and sing around 11, and then we do the luncheon at 12. So we'll have more details on pricing and whatnot, and you'll see, we'll send flyers and whatnot and post. So that is upcoming. We have a pretty busy November. We had the Alzheimer's. Again, I'll just remind everybody, it's always the first Friday of every month, and you can always call. We have all their information, their phone numbers, and our rep's name, and you can always have that private conversation or make an appointment with them off campus if you want. We have book group today. They're going over The Frozen River. That's the book for November. And then December's book is Immortal Lake. We're looking forward to that today. Veterans Day is Monday. I think we are going to be closed that day. We're not usually someone will go in and do office hours. I may go in and do office hours, but as far as program goes, we're probably just going to keep it closed. We're going to celebrate Veterans Day on Tuesday when everybody comes back. We'll have the Missing Man table. This will be the first year that we do that. And just, celebrate our veterans and say thank you. Tom is back. Tom's been doing a lot of traveling. Tom is our computer guy. And like Dottie, he comes to us the first and third Tuesday of every month. And he's very, very popular. So I just want to let everybody know he's back and he's ready to rock and roll. He's an expert on ancestry. So if anybody's interested in that, feel free to, he'd love to talk about that. We have a couple of art things. We have a really kind of cool art and music coming up. On Saturday, the 16th, we have SAS is doing one of their workshops. It's called Big Ideas, Small Painting. So that is available. On the 19th, which is a Tuesday, we have Draper Middle School coming, and they're bringing their 15 of their little orchestra students, and they're going to be setting up downstairs and they're going to do a presentation, their press. So, which we love. We have our movie club. People just love Jim, and he's fantastic to work with, and he does a club with us in a couple other areas around town. And so he's at 12:30 again on Thursday. So come on over for that. We have our defensive driving course. So if anybody's interested, sign up, because we need a base level in order to hold it. If they don't get enough people, all reservations are made through AAA. And all of that information is on the website. So feel free to give them a call and book that, and we will be happy to do that. It's a 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and that's on Saturday, the 23rd. And then last, but certainly not least, we have a community quilt project, which we're really looking forward to. And we're doing that with our art partners, but also with these middle schools. So VA and Iroquois middle school kids. They'll come over on the 26th, that's a Tuesday, and they're going to be putting together these squares. And then we have a sewing group, and once the kids are done with their portion of it, our sewing group has offered to put the quilt together. And then what we're going to do is, once that's completed, we're going to put it on display there. We're going to ask to put it on display here. We'll put it in the school, and then we'll probably auction it off. So
I love that.
kind of neat. Yeah. First time we've done it, so we're looking forward to it. So more to come on that. So I think I've covered everything there. I did have a little, this is in anticipation of bad weather. We've actually been very fortunate, I will say, knock on wood. And but I've been looking at this group. It's called the Flood Defense Group, and this is for areas that are a lot worse off than we are. And I did email it to a few of you. You're probably sick of hearing about it, but I did print it out too, because he did send a price list. This is actually a variety of a lot of different products that they have. All we're looking for is a couple of panels. And the reason being that we know where our little soft spots are down there, and we can handle it. We just need the right tool for the right job. And the sandbags just don't work. They're heavy, they're messy, they break, they get in our drains. We don't want that, right? So we're very protective of our drains. I will tell you that. So sweeping leaves and making sure they stay clear. So anyways, I did bring this for you to have you take a look. It's just the first couple of pages there that mark off the panels that we were interested in, and then the price and it's
So diverting water, that's.
it really, yeah, the beauty of these panels is that they're kind of like an L shape. So you set them on the ground and they stack like chairs, and so literally I could, take 5 of them and just pick them up and move them, right? No mess, no fuss. And we kind of, there's only one area there where it comes down around the building. And if we could just, we swing it with the sandbags, but the sandbags are a nuisance, and they're heavy and they're messy. So
budget follow-up list.
This was curious. I was very curious about this. And, you know, I've looked at and talked to people about the ones where they absorb the water and they blow up. And then they, you know, deflate after they dry out. But there's more criticism of that than, they're not as functional as they sound. So, again, we were thinking, you know, we could get away with 3 panels and that was.
Did you research them enough to know which one you want?
There's a 20-inch and a 40-inch, and I think the 20-inch is probably, we're looking at the box walls here, these panels.
This one?
This is like, yeah, these panels right here, but this is the 20-inch and that's the 40-inch.
And which one did you want?
And I mean, you tell me, but we don't get that much water.
No, you just need to divert
Right.
it. You don't
And
get,
here's the preview. Might be interested. So this guy that
but you're saying 20?
I'm thinking it's 1-inch height.
You need it.
That's the
Their
width.
pricing's low.
So this fella here, he said, you know, and I didn't know if this was something you were interested in or not, but if, you know, when we're done using them, they can certainly be absorbed by highway. They offer a pallet price, but I think that what he has there is the individual panel price. I'm not, you know, that's throw down on.
And how many did you think?
I'm thinking like 3 to 5,
Five?
more than it, yeah.
They're reasonably priced, I think.
So
We
they're
can get the
looking-
discounted.
And these are corner pieces, so you can wrap it around this way, or you could wrap it around that way. What do you think? I would
It wouldn't hurt in case you have to make an adjustment and you got all straights. You might just end up using 2 straights in 1 corner piece, so.
Sometimes he has used panels. And the other thing is that if you ever run into a situation where you buy a pallet and you use them and then you don't have any use for them any longer, you can also sell them. So, Just options.
They look reasonable.
okay.
There's
And
no deals
we'll
on
look, feel free to look through here and see if there's anything else that catches your eye. I just thought it was a really cool solution.
We'll see, you just think how cool they are when you're out there in the pouring rain. Don't decide them off. You never know how cool it is. I've been out in the pouring rain. It's not real cool.
Does he have the
So I'll look at them, Lori. They may have enough in their line
That would be
to
awesome.
cover it already.
For this year, that would be fun.
Yeah. We'll try to get that.
Okay.
They're not much. They're under $200 a panel. I think we might be able to absorb that in either building maintenance or miscellaneous for them.
If you're over budget,
one doorway is a tree.
The most trouble is as you're coming, yeah, when you go to the right.
yeah.
But then, and we really haven't run into any problems on the flip side, but you know, if we ever get these deluges, like we usually do with spring, late in the fall, we really haven't had one in a while.
Right.
Yes,
They
once together, it slips together.
Yeah. the beta
Oh,
color.
I see what you're saying. And the weight of the water, yes, so it is,
And you know, the investment that you're putting into those is saving you on the other end of having to use that in the center out.
Well, we can't put them new drains in and it will relieve it on a modest rain. But because it's in a hole, in a heavy rain situation, it's really,
Because I know.
yeah, and there's real no good answer.
so yeah, I think the corner piece might be. actually better
Yeah,
for that
maybe,
other area.
we'll see what we can get.
Thank you very much.
Are these online? Is that where you're from?
I will know. If I didn't already, I'll send you. Also, there's a link in there.
Okay,
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
I'll do my best to help you out here.
Simple.
That's it.
That's it.
Anybody have anything else?
I'm sorry. I can turn in.
Can we
My
thank
love-
Meeting Company for the gift cards?
So they're lovely.
They've been wonderful.
How they are.
Thank you.
Mhm. Yes,
Um,
yes. And Yeah, we had $100, one single $100, and I felt so bad. I remember, he sent 425s. And he's like, no problem. And he just,
He's very
he couldn't be
nice.
more accommodating. So we're gonna try and see maybe we can do like a special event or something. Yeah. Patron him. Yeah.
Good.
The boys will be up today to clean the grounds for Veterans Day. There's some. You got a guy.
I'm gonna meet with Lori in the near future to nail down the details of the splash pad. The utilities are in, except for the water and sewer and the conduit, the electric is in for the site, and then you now have to fine tune what we want as far as the features when you move forward, the contract for the actual install. Ray's been doing a ton of work up there for the drainage and regrading the site, so it's been a big team effort.
Part of our thing was to do to get a better price for while they're doing the work, but he leaves a good site. Was the restoration of the trenches, and we're actually mobilizing up there. The parks guys are with the Harley rake, and we're gonna get them cleaned up and reseeded so that they go through the winter with seed on them and hopefully rejuvenate in the spring, and you won't even know you're there. But he did leave a nice site, so our work is minimal there.
One thing that did come up during the construction, someone from softball approached him, the contractor, and wanted to make sure that he was aware that they were planning on expanding that's one of the fields, which was news to me.
They were what?
They want to expand, yeah, they want to expand one of the softball fields. So they just wanted to make sure that the alignment for the conduit and the water was far enough
Work for
back.
them?
Yeah.
That's why we did.
They want to go back, they want to make it deeper, yeah. That's what I said to the contractor.
Also received a grant from the community foundation for 4 of those powder coated.
Oh, those are great.
Yeah, for to just go around that. That's another thing to add.
I do it for us.
He said,
Anything
yeah,
else?
that's back.
That's it? All right, motion to adjourn, second.
Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Any opposed? Thank you, everybody. December 5th, 8 AM tonight.
Thanks, somebody.